There you go.
All right, welcome to Awaken Your Spirits. I am Bridget Harrington. Today I have April on my show from Spiritually Raw. April, I've learned so much from you already in just this few months, so I wanted to bring you on just to get the people to hear your story and also what you do currently and to learn just like I have. So, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here. It's such a pleasure. And thank you for that lovely compliment. Bridget, it's an honor to be able to help people just like yourself because you have a desire to want to change your life. And when you work with people like that, it makes it very easy because there's really not a lot of resistance and you're very open minded. And it's just been a pleasure. It's been an honor.
Yeah, so when I came across you and Jay, the channel Spiritually Raw, probably like I want to say like 2021. Okay, so probably a year ago. So I had been watching you guys, and the way, yeah, exactly, and then the way like it all manifested and aligned for me to meet you guys and actually like work with you guys was so certain for me to realize that like okay, I'm supposed to have met you guys. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. So I remember my dad like got me connected with you guys, but it was just so weird because he was also watching. And this is something like we didn't discuss together,
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, it was really cool. So when I joined, the training and decided to take this jump, it had been on my mind for a long time to do something like this, but I didn't necessarily have like the support or anyone to ask these questions to or anything like that. So it's a blessing to be a part of this with you, and I'm so glad you're here with me right now.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a journey for all of us. If you would have asked me when you first started watching the show, would we be talking about a blue bottle and a white tube? I would have said you're absolutely crazy. But things happen, like you said, they fall in line, in alignment, and when something resonates with you, you just want to share it with the whole world. Jay and I have been on a spiritual journey really since the day that we met, but before that, which was almost 21 years ago.
Wow.
Um, but before that, even before Jay and I met, I really was always on a spiritual journey my whole life. And then when we met, it just accelerated everything really, really quickly.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a little bit about that. So you said you have always had like a spiritual perspective, or you didn't have some type of awakening that kind of woke you up in a way?
Bridget, that's an interesting question. I can't really say that I had this epiphany or this awakening or, I saw angels or an alien or a spaceship came down in front of me. I've never had any of those types of experiences. I've never been taken up on a ship.
Damn
Um,
it.
exactly. I'm waiting for that one still. But my whole life I've experienced just very extraordinary otherworldly experiences. And when I was younger, everything would spook me. I was so easily spooked with everything, and I always felt like there was the boogeyman, and things were in the closet and under the bed. So at the time, I didn't realize it. I was feeling all these energies, but in my mind, I was never able to articulate it. And then I went through a phase of trying just about every possible paraphernalia or psychedelic that you could have possibly imagined. That went on for many years. I
Yeah.
enjoyed every minute of it. I loved it. I
Mhm.
wouldn't change it for the world.
Right.
But it didn't give me that spiritual experience that because I was younger, right? I was
Mhm.
doing it for the fun of it
Mhm.
and enjoying the process along the way. But throughout that whole process, it did open my mind up. Like when I was younger, I read every self-help book. I think the very first book that I really read that resonated, that I was like, there's something to this, was the Celestine Prophecy. It was in the year that it just had come out. This was like when I was in my 20s. And I would say that probably really started my opening me up to okay, I'm feeling this, and this is all kind of making sense to me. And then I just started dabbling. Well, even when we were younger, I grew up on a very active block where, I grew up in Pennsylvania. There were a lot of kids on the block. They're still my best friends to today, the friends that I grew up with. And we always dabbled in, like my mom and dad had a Ouija board in the basement, you know. So of course they didn't know that, at the time anything of it. So we were always dabbling in some sort. When I was younger, I mean, we're talking like 9, 10, 11, playing with a Ouija board with my friends and having seances and not having a clue what we were tapping into. And I remember the seances, we literally lifted one another up just from our energies, which at the time we thought was like the most fun thing ever. But, again, never really realizing what we were tapping into. And then one day we were playing on the Ouija board, and I'm saying that very lightly, playing the Ouija board. And it sent back messages that were very, very graphic and very, very dark. And that's when we were like, whoa, we're into something that we shouldn't be into. And we kind of literally burned that and never touched it again. It really shook us all up. But I wouldn't say that stopped my spiritual, I'm still on this trajectory of trying to figure stuff out. So I did everything I could possibly do. I read all of the books and I listened to all the tapes and the recordings back then. They certainly helped, no doubt. But I would say it was when Jay and I met is when things just went and all of the doors opened up, because I finally felt like I was able to connect with someone that understood what I was going through. He was going through the same type of experiences. And then when our energies combined, it was like literally an explosion of energy. And then it took a long time, Bridget, to harness that. Because when you have two very strong energies that are, when Jay and I met, I was an entrepreneur myself. I was very successful. I had my own business. So I had my own life. I had my own money. I had my own everything. And then when we came together very quickly, we merged his business and my business. And, you've got these two strong-headed minds that, they think their way is the right way. That can create a tremendous amount of friction, right? A very long time to be able to, we still work on it today, to be able to harness these energies and not literally kill one another along the process.
Love that. Oh my God. What were you doing? What was your business as an entrepreneur before you met Jay, before Spiritually Raw took off?
Well, it's funny. Jay and I, the way that we met, I was an insurance and financial services professional, and so was Jay. So he had an insurance agency, and I had I had my own insurance agency as well, and but a smaller scaled down version of it. And then we both lived in Florida. We still live in Florida now, and we went to Texas, not knowing one another. I lived in South Florida. He lived in North Florida, which is like 3 hours away. And we both got on an airplane and went to the same insurance convention, which happened to be in Texas. And we met in Texas in an insurance convention. And without sounding like totally corny and without sounding like an absolute cliche, I remember I was standing with my business partner at the time, not a love partner, was a business partner. And Jay walked through I was standing outside. We were outside, and it's like a movie. And Jay was walking towards us because he was coming outside. We were already outside. And, you have the doors, when you step on it, the doors open up. You know what I mean? Like the electric doors as you're walking through the entrance of a hotel or the exiting a hotel. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and it was like, and the rest was history. From that point, we've been inseparable since that moment.
Oh, it's such a beautiful love story. And I feel like from where I see, I can't see behind closed doors, you guys make a great team. Really powerful, amazing team. So when you decided to develop or come up with or create Spiritually Raw? I mean, I got a little of the backstory from Jay, but I'd like to hear your perspective. Like, what was the like driving force? What made you want to quit the insurance and like try a YouTube channel and go for it?
Well, when after Jay and I met in Texas, I moved to where he was. So I moved 3 hours north. I went, which I'm where we're at now, and we merged our businesses.
Mhm.
And then that was very, very successful. So we had a very large insurance agency that we ran for 10 years. Financially, it was excellent. But it was very mundane. It's the same thing over and over and over. So it was financially great, but it was spiritually very unfulfilling. And we were both at a point of we did it, we had the experience, now we're ready to move on. And one day I said to Jay, I don't want to do this anymore. We had a big agency. And he's like, I don't want to do it either. I'm like, seriously? He's like, I'm over it. I'm like, you're really over it? It was like very hard to believe because we built up it took a long time to build it up.
Right.
I said, he's like, are you sure that you're done? I said, I know for sure that I'm done. He said, if you really feel this way, I'm going to go sell the business. So I just laughed it off and I'm like, you go do that. You go sell the insurance agency.
Oh my goodness.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, you don't just go out and sell an insurance agency. It takes a very long time.
Mhm.
And he came back within that week. It was literally within a couple days. And he's like, well, you got your wish. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the business is sold. I said, you're so full of beans. He's like, I'm not kidding. He's like, I just sold the business. They're coming to audit it. And we need to be out next week. And
Wow.
that's exactly was so we had like 5 filing cabinets, the big filing cabinets that were just floor to ceiling of clients.
Right.
And all of that, everything was changing in a short period of time. So the sale went through very, very quickly. And then Jay and I were out of business. We had no business. We had no plan. We had no backup plan because it happened so fast.
Yeah, right.
And then we're like, well, now what are we going to do? We don't have a job. We have no plan.
Yeah.
What on earth are we going to do?
Mhm.
And we had this absolutely insane idea to start a radio show, which was so foreign to us because we had absolutely no experience. Neither one of us had ever been in the media of any format. I hated it the thought of me being on camera was so that will never happen.
Mhm.
And it was just when Facebook and social media started it was like the first year or two Facebook even came out. We had no social media experience. We had no media experience, but we had this idea to start a radio show, and we did.
Wow.
Which was crazy. And it was definitely an uphill battle at first because, again, we went in it blindly with no experience. We spent a fortune trying to figure it out. Luckily, when you spend a lot of money on something, you end up figuring it out relatively quickly, or you just leave it all together and you blow that idea up and try something different. So we ironed out the kinks relatively quickly, considering, we had no experience. And then once we got it in motion and figured it all out, it took off very, very, very quickly. And we ran the show for 18 months, and we were literally moving at Mach speed. We interviewed over 1,200 people in 18 months, which was like 15 to 16 to 17 people a week. But we built up a tremendous amount of experience in a short amount of time. And during that period, we built up a consulting business because people wanted to know, how are we making money from the show? They couldn't understand it.
Right.
So we would just start telling people how we were doing it. And then one day I said to Jay, this is ridiculous. Why are we just telling people? Why don't we just start a consulting business? And that's what we did. And the consulting business grew very quickly, and we didn't have enough time to be able to do the show and the consulting. So we put the show on hold for over 7 years, and then in 2020 decided to relaunch it. And we relaunched it really at a great time. It was when, Trump was running, and there was this whole truther movement and QAnon and so forth and so on. It was just divine timing that we relaunched it at a really great time. And then when we relaunched it, we weren't on YouTube the first time. We did everything by a podcast.
Oh,
So
okay.
we really started at ground zero on YouTube and just
Wow.
did it all over again, and it took off really well, and here we are today.
Wow. Yeah, 2020 was crazy, right? I mean,
Great. Very
yeah,
great.
so many people just like were like, I'm starting a channel, and then now you have all these channels that evolved from 2020 that are still going, and people, kind of created their own little reality and paved their own way. And I'm
I think it was 2019. I apologize. It
oh
was
really
2019 into 2020, but it was the same time frame. The
right,
same,
but perfect
same
timing.
energy. Yes. Exactly.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
I am just I don't know. I want to do the same thing. And that's, I think, why the universe has put me and you in the same path, and so that I can learn and do it. And I have learned a lot so far. And it's also like Jay just tells me, like, stop thinking, just do. And it's the truth, right? It's the truth. So I can talk myself out of anything. And so,
Well, you're not alone. That's so many people get tripped up in their head because they second guess themselves, or they doubt themselves, or they don't believe in themselves. So if you can eliminate those three parts, which is really your ego self, and start to live from your spirit self, and you really start to trust that, if I could say one thing to people that are wanting to make a transition or wanting to make a leap into a whole other career, let's say, you have to trust and believe in yourself, and listen to your intuition. Trust your intuition. Learn how to um, discern information. Learn how to discern the chitter chatter in your mind, and turn that part off and just stay laser focused, which is why that little blue bottle right in front of you helps tremendously to do that, because it elevates our consciousness, and it brings us in alignment to who we truly really are. It raises our vibration, it raises our frequency, and when you raise your frequency, you're in alignment with your higher self. And when you become in alignment with your higher self, you literally are going with the universal flow. It's like you're riding the universal wave instead of fighting it. Instead of swimming against the universal current, you're literally flowing with the universal current. And once you tap into that, things fly, and they literally move at God or goddess speed. And when things fall into place, then you're on the right path. What happens more often than not, we keep trying to break through, when the universe is saying, stop, refocus, and take a little bit of a detour, because what you're doing is not working. And many people try to push through something that's not working, and that's just creating more and more blocks. The one thing I could say to you, from what Jay and I have learned throughout the years, even when we had the insurance agency, that never really ends well. When you keep pushing and pushing and pushing because you feel like you have to break through this, yet, or everything's going to collapse. Well, it's going to collapse by trying to break through something that's when you're going in the wrong direction. Sometimes you just have to take a step back and say, okay, universe, I get it. This way is not working. Now I need you to show me a path that will work. And once you get into that alignment, and when the doors for you start to open up quickly, you're in alignment. When the
Mhm.
doors keep shutting and shutting and shutting, but you're trying to push through those shut doors, that's when things never end well.
Mhm.
You have to just step back and take a look and reassess. And when you reassess and do that, new doors will open up, new doors will open up, new doors will open up.
Mhm. Right. And coincidentally, I found you guys not only just from watching you, but then through ASEA because I started using the product. Um, and some things started happening to me. And I didn't really have the way I could explain it and put it into words. Um, I didn't know what was going on. So and then I started doing, more research and getting more involved with you guys and reading and watching testimonials about ASEA. And they were saying the same things that I was explaining. That was so much validation and feedback that okay, there was something to this product. So I definitely felt that, right? Like right away within a couple months I started feeling I'm more in flow, I'm energetic, not just in a physical way, but also in a laser beam focused way, like you were saying. Like if I'm not focusing on something today, like normally, currently, right now, like I feel uncomfortable, if that makes sense. So if I don't have somewhere to put my focus for the day, I get really uncomfortable. And I just think because my energy has risen because of the ASEA, um, now it's time to share that with other people, and now it's time to get out there. Not only just ASEA, but also it's made me be able to jump into this media world where I've been resisting for a really long time because Spirit has led me to put myself out there and get out there, create some channel, whether it be any kind of social media or whatever. And just so happens I'm going the YouTube path for now. But yeah, it gave me that push to do it and also have a reason, and a purpose. And so I can agree wholeheartedly. This stuff, there's something to it. It's magical. Every day I drink it. So
Absolutely. Something that you said, when you are not feeling, you go through the day, but you feel like you have no purpose, or you feel like you haven't accomplished anything, or you feel like you have no game plan. I totally agree with you because it makes me feel very, very off balance.
mhm,
And this show is truly what helps keep us balanced, because this is why we're such advocates for people having their own show, because you talk your problems out, you
mhm,
talk your issues out, you talk everything out, and once you release it, you can reset everything. And not only that, but when you have the show, like I'm connecting with your beautiful energy, right? And no matter what I may have felt like 15 minutes ago, right now I'm 100% um, uh, in the now with you. So everything else around me, nothing else matters other than this moment right now. So it helps you to connect to the now moment.
mhm,
And that is, again, helps to raise the vibration, release any type of negativity. Like I may have had a really crappy moment before I got on air, but I'm on air with you now, and there's nothing else that matters, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
that's why we really um, I am so encourage people to have, okay, maybe not everybody wants their own YouTube show, but you have to have a group of people that you can communicate with, especially in today's world, because a lot of people feel very, very isolated, and they
mhm,
feel like, you know what, I have a lot of things going on, but my friends don't have the same issues going on that I do. Well, you have to find people that you can connect with so that you can talk these things out and release them. Otherwise, you're suppressing them, and they just get bottled up, and they get suppressed and suppressed and suppressed. And it's going to come out, who knows in what way. It could come out one day, you go postal, you snap, you snap at your husband, your boyfriend, your spouse, your children, or you start to physically feel ill. That's
mhm.
where the illnesses come from. Comes from unresolved emotions. These
Yep.
emotions have to come out some way, so they're going to pick their poison. It's just a matter of which one are they going to pick.
Mhm,
So the more that you release your thoughts, you release the energy, you're sending out great vibrations to the universe. Very simply put, what you put out is going to come back to you.
mhm.
So
Right.
if you're putting out great energy, if you're putting out great thoughts, great feeling, great love, that's going to come back to you. If you're suppressing all of that anxiety, anger, issues, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be on that frequency, and you're going to, like a magnet, attract others that are in that same frequency of anxiety, stress, anger. And next thing you know, you're all having this pity party together and nothing is getting accomplished, right? So
Yeah.
you have to find others that are vibrating at a higher frequency, so you two as well can maintain that higher level of frequency.
Right. And it's incredible to me. I'm just fascinated to watch like the spirit, not only just the spiritual community, but other groups and stuff like connect globally across the world, through conversations like this, and also just to like create a small short experience for the two to feel and like feel connected, like you said, not feel so alone in what we're thinking, because some people might say the way that I think, is crazy, or is not real. A lot of people do, but you get on here and it is real, and there are other people who also have the same beliefs and thoughts, and and it creates like this safe space to be able to like talk about it, and so what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. And there was something that you also said I wanted to touch on. It'll come back to me, but Jay and I have learned so much from the people that we have interviewed. Now we've interviewed probably, I've lost count, it's like over 2,300 people. But every single solitary interview that we do, it doesn't matter if we've interviewed someone for the first time or multiple times, or it's somebody completely new. Every interview, we learn something new. So to go back to answer your question, why did we start Spiritually Raw? We really started Spiritually Raw for our own selfish reasons. We
Hmm.
started Spiritually Raw because we were having a lot of spiritual experiences that we needed the answers to. There
Hmm.
was a lot of things going on in both of our lives that we were like, this is really fucked up. This is like holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We need answers to what is happening between us, right?
Yeah.
Because we were not, by any stretch of the imagination, we were not experts in the spiritual realm
Hmm.
at all. We were absolute novices that were going into it with an interview format because Jay and I needed answers.
Hmm.
So throughout this experience, now obviously we've grown so much, we've learned so much, we're learning constantly every day. And from that perspective alone, it's worth its weight in gold,
Hmm. Hmm.
because you're always in a learning mode. You're always learning every day. I mean, and there's been so many things that have happened throughout, literally the past few years. It's funny, when we first launched the show, we would talk about crazy things that at the time seemed totally crazy. Now they seem totally normal. But
Right.
right, we would talk about, walk-ins and people going on spaceships and having these downloads and just crazy. Someone thinks they're Jesus Christ, the other person thinks they're their Apostle Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And back then we're like, these people are crazy, but it was so entertaining to us. Like, we thought
Right.
it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward to today, we are living and experiencing the things that we talked about back then, which were like prophetic, prophetic. We were talking a lot about prophecies to happen back then that were, never thinking they were going to be happening less than 10 years from back then.
Right.
So now we're actually living these prophecies that have been, foretold for centuries. And that's pretty cool. We're
Mhm.
from my perspective, I've never, Bridget, looked at what we're going through right now as a prison. You hear a lot of people that refer to Earth as a prison planet.
Mhm.
I don't see how on earth that is possible. Jay and I literally live across the street from the beach. I'm looking out the window right now. The skies are blue. There's palm trees all around us.
Mhm.
How's that a prison planet?
I agree. No.
How is when you sit at the beach and just in wonderment, or we walk down to the river at night and you see the sunset and just a mirage of beautiful colors, or we wake up in the morning and we see the sun rise. It's mind-blowing.
Right.
It's spectacular. It's incredible. So I've never felt like we've ever lived in a prison planet ever. But when we went through these past years of discovering atrocities that are happening throughout the world, which are pretty much undeniable,
Mm-hmm.
um, now that we know about them, we've learned about them, we've uncovered them, we know about them. Now, at this juncture, is the time to, you got to fix your own shit,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
if you don't work on this, if you don't work on everything that's sitting right here, how in God's name do you think you're going to raise the consciousness of humanity?
Right.
You have to clean your own stuff out first and not listen. We know what's going on and we understand it. We've been through that. We can't dwell on that. We have to work on ourselves and make our lives, our own lives, the best that they can possibly be, because that when you're in a love vibration, that is what's going to raise the consciousness of humanity. That's what's going to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know uh, People talk about, well, a flash is going to come and this is going to come and that's going to come. Is it? Who the heck knows? Maybe it will, maybe it's absolute fantasy, right?
Right.
But
Yes.
until, right, until that day happens, you gotta fix your shit.
Yes. Yeah. And bring it back home. And that's what I agree. I think that Earth is beautiful, you know. There's so little that I can see from, just from my being and my perspective. There's just so much little that I can see, but I would like to see way more, and I'm open to it all. And I am excited for life now. And I didn't used to live that way. And I can agree with people seeing it as a prison planet, but it being a prison of the mind. I mean,
It's
you
your
know
own
any
prison.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, your own prison. And I was in it. So I totally can see that perspective. But when I found a way to break out of that prison of my own mind, and like now I'm in a spot where I realize and I believe wholeheartedly that I can create my own reality. I can live how I want to live. I can do what I want to do. I'm fully capable. And I'm not only capable, but I'm excited to do that. And that's kind of why I wanted to create this channel, is for a way to show other people that you don't have to do what you don't want to do, right? Like I'm going to prove that. And it's going to be a journey though, right? And I'm going to share it all, and I know it will be a journey. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is the journey of doing it. And, if I fail, I fail. I make mistakes, but it's all part of it, right? So I'm just excited.
Exactly. You get back on the horse, you brush the dirt off, you pull up your big girl panties, and you keep marching on. You know what? I'm going to read something real quick. My cousin posted this, and I said, oh my gosh, I have to send this. And I sent it to our son, Alex, but I'm going to read it to you real quick.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, yeah.
Hold on one sec. Um, he said, when life punches you in the face, stand firm, look life in the eyes, and say, you hit like a bitch. And then you continue to fight.
I love that. Yes.
And that's what you do. You got, listen, that's the whole thing. You got to keep going. You got to keep marching on. And you can't, the worst thing that anyone could possibly do is just sit and wait and wait and wait and wait for something, whether it's true or a fantasy, to come and change your life. You are the masters of your destiny. You have the ability to change the trajectory of your life, and only you have the ability to create your own life. I'm sure you're very familiar with the saying, on earth as it is in heaven.
Yes.
And that is the most true statement, because what it's saying is, you don't have to die to have a heaven on earth life. You have the ability to create it yourself. But similarly, You don't have to die to live in hell either.
Mm-hmm.
You can create a hell on earth just as equally as you can create a heaven on earth. It's up to us. It's up to everyone individually to make those choices. If you want to live a certain lifestyle or not.
Right.
And I don't think, Bridget, there's any right or wrong answers because everything is experiences.
Yep.
And whatever you don't figure out now is going to replay over and over and over and over again in your life until you do figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's where I'm at right now. I'm creating my own heaven on earth. And honestly, like for the past couple of years, it's been honestly good. Like okay, right? It's okay. Now I'm in the section where I'm gonna see what I can do. That's where I'm at. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited that I met you and Jay and that I have you guys on my team for support and for all these questions. I have so many questions all the time. But yeah, I thank you, April, for sharing all that with us and being here with me and give me your time. I know time is precious. So if there's anything else you want to say, you can go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much. And thank you for having the wherewithal and the bravery to say, you know what, I am going to make this leap because it is a leap of faith. You've taken a major leap of faith and you're truly an inspiration for others. So thank you so much. And if I could just say, people ask all the time, Bridget, how can I raise my vibration?
Mm-hmm.
How can I raise my vibration when I feel like everything around me is collapsing? Well, first of all, stop watching. If anyone is watching the news, stop watching the news. That is numero uno. That is absolutely numero uno. Stop watching the news and start watching or listening to things that make you feel good. Put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Um, the easiest way to raise your vibration and literally to start changing your life immediately, it's so simplistic. Start doing things today, right here, right now, that you love. Start doing things that bring Bridget happiness. Every day, if you just integrate one new thing in your life that makes you feel happy and brings you joy, and similarly, start eliminating one thing a day that doesn't make you feel happy and doesn't bring you joy. And at the end of 7 days, you're going to look back and say to yourself, oh my gosh, geez, is that all I had to do? I feel great.
Right, right.
Make that tiny little shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth of it all, Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
Just start doing things that make you feel happy. And when you're feeling really down and you feel like you're in a funk and you can't snap out of the funk, give gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
That is the immediate fix to shift your mindset because it's all in the mind. It's 1,000,000% all in the mind. When you give gratitude, it always immediately raises your vibration and it takes you out of the victim mentality.
Right. Yep.
Thanks for anything. Give thanks for the air, for the sun, for the air that you're breathing, for waking up, for the beautiful hair that you have that everybody would die for.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, April.
Just start giving gratitude, and that will immediately shift your life. Give
Mm.
gratitude, start doing things that you enjoy, that make you feel happy, start eliminating things that don't bring you joy. And I promise at the end of the week, you will feel like an entirely different human being.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much, April. I appreciate that. I appreciate being here. Where we can find you at Spiritually Raw.
Spiritually Raw Live.
Okay.
That's where we host all of our unedited, all of our uncensored videos are on spirituallyraw.live. And you can always check us out. We're on all the social media platforms. Certainly check us out on YouTube, Spiritually Raw. We have 2 channels, a Spiritually Raw backup channel. That's where most of our videos are. And then we have another one, just a smaller one for because you never know what's happening.
Right.
So.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much again for coming, April. I'll talk to you
Thank
later.
you, my love. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been awesome.
Oh, and make sure if you're listening or you hear this to like and subscribe and hit the little red bell. All right, next time.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Much love.